What's up, YouTube? So today is May 31st, 2025, and I decided that for the month of June, the upcoming month, I'm going to embark on a little special challenge. Now, this challenge is the Goodwill Hunting Challenge. No relation to the movie. It will be that I only read novels that I find from Goodwill during the month of June. And the rule is I can only buy one novel at a time from Goodwill. And once I finish that, I can go back and then purchase another novel and so forth until June ends. So, as today is May 31st and I cannot go to Goodwill tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. when I wake up, I'm going to go today and possibly start on this novel tonight because I'm a cheater. Weather's not looking too great right now. All right, everyone, it's time to get this show on the road and drive to Goodwill. This guy Gary is talking to me like I'm 4 years old. Here we are, the best place ever. Yeah, so this Goodwill is unique because it only has books and CDs and vinyls and some art as well. So, of course, it's my favorite Goodwill now because it doesn't have clothes or any other BS like that. I think the rain is about to come back, but I managed to get one book from Goodwill. It is A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle, which is Sherlock Holmes. And I have never read Sherlock Holmes, so this is a perfect starting point. I believe it's the first story he wrote from the Holmes universe. So, nice. All right, so as you saw in the parking lot, I bought A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes novel, first Holmes from Doyle. And this is the Butterscotch Penguin Classic. It's from the 80s or so, probably. And it is introduced by Mr. Ian Sinclair. Around like 170 pages total with the introduction. So yeah, I'm going to start this probably tonight. But it is book one of Goodwill Hunting, June edition. Some thoughts from reading the first page. I had no idea that Arthur Conan Doyle was Scottish. He was born in Edinburgh in 1859, and I just always thought he was British because every writer from the 1800s is British or Russian, pretty much. Yeah, so I'm out for a little bit of a walk right now, and I have finished the first two chapters of A Study in Scarlet. And to speak a little about this Butterscotch Penguin Classic Edition itself, there's one aspect of it that is at points annoying and also quite fortuitous as well. That would be in the introduction and the notes. It directly says that parts of the book have been spoiled, so don't read if you don't want to be spoiled until the end. Now, most Penguin Classics do not say this. There's no banner or notice, but they spoil it anyway. So, a little annoying that I had to skip the introduction, but I am glad they told me because those liars hardly ever tell us anything. But back to the book, the first two chapters were pretty good. It's a beginning. I like beginnings. It was nice to see John Watson's backstory as well as his first meeting with Holmes, where they're trying to find lodgings and they end up in 221B Baker Street. So definitely enjoying it so far, 2 chapters in. All right, so my timing's a little bit out of whack, but I did finish A Study in Scarlet by Conan Doyle in early June. And I'll have to say, I really did enjoy the mystery part of this. I filmed a full book review of this a few days ago. So I'm going to link to that right here. You can watch the full thing. It's like 13 minutes. But the Holmes and Watson part of this book was awesome. It was great. It was like 60, 70 pages of just comic fun, genius, everything you could ask for in a Holmes story. Gets off the rails in the second part, as you'll see or you know about, but I don't think that detracts too much from the book. It was still a great introduction to one of the greatest characters and detectives ever created in fiction. So, yeah, $1 at Goodwill. Great value. Trip number 2 today. Okay, so if you're following along with my facial hair, you will tell this is out of order, but I am new to reading vlogs and I have not filmed as much as I'd like to. So I did finish Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, and I thought this was an interesting and fun book. It was written in the 1860s, 1865. It's been a couple weeks. I don't remember the exact date. But it was written in French. Verne was French. And this is an older penguin, Orange Spine, translated by, I believe, Robert Baldick. Yeah, by Robert Baldick. He was one of the early maestros of penguin classics publishing, along with like Betty, Radis, and some other people. So, yeah, Journey to the Center of the Earth. This is a book about this crazy scientist. It's funny how many just like, archetypal genius characters are written about in the 19th century. That people were on some savant schemes in the 1800s. But it's about this quest undertaken by Professor Otto Leidenbrock and his nephew Axel Leidenbrock, who is the narrator. Dr. Otto Leidenbrock is a renowned geologist, the quintessential academic, but he can't really give a lecture because he's too much of a nerd. He's not a great speaker, but he is a well-known scientist and mostly geologist, but some other disciplines as well. And his nephew Axel is a budding geologist, but he's still of schooling age, and he's mostly a narrator stand-in for us to watch Professor Leidenbrock go on this journey. But yeah, it is I'm not going to go into spoilers, but this story starts out with the professor finding this old Icelandic book. It is actually, I don't know if it is the Prose Edda, but it's one of Snorri Sturluson's Icelandic sagas. He finds it in like the original Icelandic or whatever. I don't know. It's made up. But inside this saga, there's a handwritten piece of parchment from this fictional 16th century Icelandic alchemist called Arne Sakmussen, and it's in Icelandic runes, but they eventually decode the message, and it tells how Arne Sakmussen made it to the center of the earth, and it gives like, you got to go to this mountain and go into this crater, and then you can descend all the way to the core or whatever. And being the savant geologist that he is, Professor Leidenbrock will hear no danger, and he's like, all right, we're going to go full steam ahead. And I'm taking along the nephew because I need some muscle. So this story is about how Otto, Axel, and their Icelandic guide, Hans, who's a stout and resolute man who accepts his fate. He's an interesting character. But it's about how these three try to reach the Earth's core. Is the work particularly deep? Maybe on a literal level, but yeah, it's mostly just like an adventure novel. I'm not sure of the range of subterranean fiction prior to this novel, but this is one 19th century work that I'm like, I don't know if it was too impactful on later works. It was fun. It was a good read. I think Robert Baldick's translation is a little stilted, somehow out of date, even though I think it was from like 1965. I know Penguin Classics Black Spine has a newer translation, and I would like to get to that at some point. But yeah, if you just want a little fun romp and you enjoy some geology, Journey to the Center of the Earth is a pretty good read. It's June 4th, and I'm already on my third trip. I'm gonna have to get a bigger book this time. All right, so Goodwill trip number 3 complete. As you probably saw, I got Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is a hardcover by Barnes & Noble Classics, Barnes & Noble Publishing. I saw somebody talking about the series recently, and they're saying, like, where did they go? I don't know. They're in Goodwill, but that's about it. So yeah, I have noticed now that I'm on a 19th century kick on these first 3 books of June, and it seems to be a sort of a education process in that I'm semi-underread in 19th century literature. So first we had 1880s, Arthur Conan Doyle, then 1860s, Jules Verne, and now I think this is 1897. So yeah, I'm kind of stunned that I haven't read Dracula, but I've read Salem's Lot. That's vampires, but never read Dracula. So I'm sitting on a park bench right now. Oh, it's a nice view, and I'm gonna start reading Dracula. So see you later. All right, I'm just gonna cheat, and I'm filming exactly 1 second after my Jules Verne review. So I finished Dracula yesterday at this point, that being June 15th. This book actually took me a while. It is epistolary format, so it's letters and journals and newspaper clippings. That's how you read the story. I really enjoyed it. I've read Screwtape Letters, which is also epistolary, and I like the format, but it not having longer chapters or like a standard narrative, I think does just make for slower reading, which is fine. But I freaking loved Dracula. I've never read it. I didn't know. I thought I knew what to expect, but I didn't expect it. I think most of you probably know the Dracula story or have seen Dracula movies, but the very basic basic synopsis is that this solicitor lawyer guy goes to Transylvania to arrange the sale of a house for this count who lives in Transylvania, but he wants to buy this old abbey in England so he can live there. And the lawyer goes over there, and there's a bunch of sinister stuff that happens, and he's like, what's going on with this guy, this Dracula count guy? And then most of the story is Dracula journeys to England finally, and stuff starts going down there, and a group of people try to figure out what's going on and try to stop things from happening. So that's the very bare bones rough synopsis. I can't remember what I talked about for my intro to this book, but Bram Stoker wrote this in 1897. He was actually a theater manager for like all of his career, and he just kind of wrote on the side. But Dracula was was maybe only commercial success in writing. And I don't know if it was that successful at the time of publication, but soon after, with the 1920s, 1930s movies, it really gained some traction. But yeah, this book was great. It was really awesome. Stoker writes an incredible atmosphere for the spooky, the eerie, the haunted, the nighttime wanderings and dark cities and dream states. It's all powerfully written. So the characters, there's a lot of characters on like the good side, and they're not all fleshed out, but they're also like dramatic and gallant. That it's hard to imagine that level of like emotional fervor they feel for each other and for humanity. I say it's hard to imagine because I live in the 21st century, where it seems like a lot of the time people don't really care about other people, and everything's more superficial. But these are like incredibly heartfelt characters. Is it too dramatic? Maybe, but it feels real. And the story, while it may have been a little overlong, I mean, it's only 400 pages, but I think some of the plot gets a little meandering and boring, but to me, that was fine. I enjoyed the slowness of the narrative. It was steady. It wasn't choppy, like, it was a steady incline of suspense and not action. There's not much action, but just a steady good time. And this is a book that has, well, it didn't create the vampire fiction genre, but it has sustained and kept afloat vampire fiction for the entire time of its publication. So 130 years almost. Dracula is vampire fiction. And I think the two most cinematized characters ever are Sherlock Holmes and Dracula, which I read both just randomly in this vlog. But yeah, this Dracula is vampire. Vampire is Dracula. And I love this book so much that I was kind of torn between 4 and 5 stars. 4 because it got a little slow at times, but since I liked it so much and it's so important to its own genre of horror, gotta go with 5-star. Probably gonna be the book of the month. Bram Stoker really outdid himself on this one. And yeah, the Barnes & Noble Classics edition, I got the Goodwill tag on still, but it was decent. There were footnotes and there were endnotes. I wish there were more. It seemed like they kind of ran out of steam after like chapter 3, but an okay edition, and I like the makeup of the cover and how solid it feels. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching this reading vlog. I'm gonna cut it here because it's too many books. I can't really do a great vlog with more than one book, I think. So maybe next time I do a vlog, I'm gonna do one book only and try to really ruminate over after every so many chapters. But yeah, let me know if you want to see more reading vlogs. I know I didn't do this one great, but I will try better in the future. But yeah, to wrap things up, that was A Study in Scarlet, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Dracula for 3 of my fiction reads in the first half of June. So great month of 19th century reading. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you later.